Welcome to Spotlight Gulf Coast, a weekly showcase of people and events across South Mississippi. Spotlight Gulf Coast is partnered with William Carey University and sponsored by the IP Casino Resort and Spa, the Trenchard Scholarship Fund, and the Butch Ostelet Foundation.
Hi everyone, this is Todd Trenchard, Executive Director of the Baco Foundation of South Mississippi, welcoming you to another segment of Spotlight Gulf Coast, right here on WXXV. Each week we're coming into your living room talking about what's going on all across our region, and we want to thank our sponsors for this generous opportunity. Today we're privileged to have with us Dr. George Lakatos with AlphaCare. He's the founder and owner, and Dr. Lakatos, I'm going to call you George.
Please.
Know you personally, but you know, this has been a revolutionary thing. I know for people my age, you know, you used to always think that you would go to the emergency room for about everything, but now that these clinics are set up, you know, I was a little hesitant at first to go in. It's so seamless. It's actually brilliant that, you know, people have come up with this because it saves a lot of the heartache, and it's so available all across our region. So I want to start with that. Where did the idea come from? You being, you know, in the medical field, I'm sure you saw this a lot before.
Yeah. Well, my roots are in that place that you try and avoid, is in the emergency room. Mm-hmm. So I was the director in Biloxi for about 11 years. And was just getting tired of the ER world and watching people wait and get huge bills. So that's kind of where the idea came from, a way to kind of do it in a more comfortable environment, cheaper, and more convenient. I mean, right now everybody's so busy. I mean, time is the one finite thing that nobody can get back, and it seems like that's so valuable to people. So, you know, getting in and out when you need to be seen, rather than trying to make an appointment with your family doctor and they can't see you for a week, well, that does you no good if you're sick, right? Or going to an ER and waiting for 3-4 hours for something simple that we can treat in the clinic is, you know, it doesn't make sense. So this is the way healthcare is going now. You know, it's the direction it's moving in.
Certainly going there. Now, just some questions for people that may be watching and myself that may not know the answer. What ages of people?
So we treat from birth all the way through, you know, as old as anyone is out there. We don't have any age restrictions. All of our providers, most of them have ER training, so they're used to kind of seeing anything that walks in the door. And that's important because sometimes people will go into an urgent care and they really don't need to be there. They may be, you know, having a heart attack, a stroke, and nobody likes going to the ER, so you'd be surprised what walks through our doors. So our providers are trained to kind of recognize, you know, who's sick and needs to get an ambulance called, and who can stay and who we can treat safely in the clinic.
I think what's also unique in what I've seen is you're located all across geographically. There's so many locations. I know you have a new location we want to talk about, but let's talk about those locations, because if you have to drive all the way to Pascagoula to get something, you know, sometimes when you're feeling bad, you're just going to go to the closest place.
Right. Yeah, and like I said, it's all about convenience now. So we now have 6 locations. Like you said, we just mentioned, as you mentioned, we just opened one in Pass Christian, right off the interstate, so it's super easy to get to. It's actually right across from where the new Buc-ee's is going. But our reach is as far east as Spanish Fort, Alabama. So each clinic, other than that kind of dead area between Pascagoula and Mobile County, where there's not a whole lot, is about 15 minutes from each other. So, you know, if you live in Gulfport, you can come to our Gulfport clinic. If you live in Biloxi, we've got one there. There's one in Ocean Springs, and now again in Pass Christian. So we try and spread ourselves around enough so that people can get to us conveniently.
Now, as far as the symptoms that you're having, I mean, obviously colds are probably the first thing that come to mind.
Yeah.
Especially with what happened in 20 and 21, everybody seems to think that they have a cold, they've got COVID. They don't.
Yeah.
And so they'll go in to a clinic, and is that your number one, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, most of what we see is common stuff, but, you know, coming out of the ER and seeing patients that, you know, were kind of, in my mind, people that we could see in a clinic, I tried to set AlphaCare up so that we could deal with a little bit more than some other clinics and urgent cares do. So, you know, people who are dehydrated, we'll start IVs and put IV fluids in them. They don't have to go to the ER for that. We've got in-house x-rays, so if you fall and break a bone, or if you think you have a broken bone, We can diagnose it there, we can splint you there, get you referred to an orthopedic doctor. Stitches, people assume, oh, I just fell and my kid busted his head open, I need to run to the ER. We can deal with all that there.
Now, what about insurance? Is insurance all?
Yep. Everybody who pays for insurance knows how expensive it is, and so you want to use it. So we're enrolled with all the major insurers in the areas that we're located in. We do also have a cash rate for people who have super high deductibles. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. If you have a $5,000 deductible, it's easier to just pay a cash rate and not worry about it. And there's a lot of people still out there who unfortunately are uninsured. So we have a flat rate of $165, and if you need an X-ray and a splint and stitches, it covers all of that. We don't kind of charge for each individual service. So coming in, okay, this is what I'm going to have to pay, but we'll take care of whatever it is that you need.
I think the first time that I went in, I was in and out the door in about 25 minutes, on my way to CVS to pick up
That's great.
an antibiotic. And I was just like, wow. That's sometimes nothing against emergency rooms. There's a place for it, and obviously a lot of us grew up in those and saw the crowds getting bigger and bigger, and I said, well, you're going to get sicker just sitting in here.
Yeah.
Than you probably need to be. But the efficiency, the professionalism, and I think I told you that the next time I saw you, I said, this is something that is pretty unique, and you can see, if well done, this is going to go towards the future. This is where it's going to all go. Now, I do think that people need to understand, when I first met you, and we're going to talk about it on the second segment, you've been engaged in the community quite a bit through Willow's Warriors. I know you were part of that for a long time. You've done some things, getting out in the community and putting a face to the person, and those are all becoming part of the community. And I know we want to talk about these scholarships, which is, just blows me away. I'll walk away today going, wow, I'll use that example 1,000 times in the next month, because we try to promote that, that everybody can make a difference and give back. And that's very strong commitment. Now, if somebody wanted more information, do you have a particular website you direct them to? Or?
Yeah, so it's www.alphacareurgentcare.com. And we'll talk, like you said, about the scholarships, but you can download the scholarship application there. But it also, you can make an appointment to be seen. You can get in line now. One of the things we heard from our patients is that, with the technology we have today, you shouldn't have to sit in a waiting room. So we now have the ability where you can get in line virtually from home, and you'll get a text when you're number one in line, then head on to the clinic and be seen. So you can go about your day and stay at home rather than waiting in a waiting room.
Okay, we're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk a lot more about Alpha Care and their commitment in this community. So don't touch that remote. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. We're talking with Dr. George Lakatos, and we're talking about Alpha Care and this unique sort of concept that's sort of become now the sort of thing in medical treatment for, those normal things that you may have gone to an emergency room because you just didn't know, and you've answered a lot of questions. But George, you've been involved in the community for a long time. First time I met you with Ivan, we were talking about Willow's Warriors. I know you chaired that for
last year.
Many years?
Last year, yeah. And I'm on the board, so been involved with that, and we've made a lot of progress. Last year we got an NIH grant that is basically going to fund the research that we've been trying to raise money for so many years. So we're getting, each day we're getting a little bit closer. It's really promising. The research is very convincing, and I think that's why the NIH picked us out of all these different rare diseases that they could have funded. We had a bad year. We lost Willow this year. And that was, very impactful for a lot of us. But for me, it gave me a renewed sense of, we got to see this thing through the finish line. I think we've had some, a lot of changeover in the board, and we've got kind of more a national feel to the board rather than local. Amber started the organization here out of Ocean Springs, and so there were a lot of local people. So I feel like I need to be one of those roots of the local people that keeps this thing going until we get it done. It's very
I think,
promising.
you know, Amber came in my office right when they found out, and they were looking at how they could set up a fund under us. And, you know, I think I was giving her too vague of an answer, so she just went home and did it herself.
Yeah, she's a go-getter. The story's amazing. You know, if you don't know the story, actually they've made a documentary about it. It's an incredibly inspiring story. She's an incredible woman, and I mean, that's what inspired me to get involved. Is just such a compelling story of, you know, a mother that's told basically go home and watch your child die, and she said no.
Right.
I'm gonna take this as far as it needs to go.
And that's why I think it has been successful. But in that same context, being a physician, I mean, you're sort of setting a mark for others to follow. And we're going to get to the scholarships, but I mean, I know last year you stole my tag from me. I was going to buy it, and then I turned my back, and you
I'm not wearing it today.
walked away with the tag on that. You know, Gail will never forget that. I said, I need another one this year. But I like giving back that way. I like coming to events. I like, you know, going to them and trying to help the organization and do that. You even walked the model, the runway. I'm sure that was a one and done forever, but we'll try to get you back. Those are things that are good because other physicians have started doing that.
Yeah.
They notice this.
Yeah.
And they'll ask you, you know, how do I get involved? And I think that there's been a big changing of the guard even in the medical field about getting more involved in the community. And I know we've got a lot of great physicians across the coast that do want to get back and come to events like this. Now, the idea of scholarships is very, very unique in not only that you're doing it, because we promote this all the time, but this has become a pretty large endeavor.
Yeah, we feel like it's worth the investment we're making. Every year we try and do a little bit more. So this year we're going to award 14 $2,500 scholarships. We've done $5,000 scholarships in the past, but we felt like we could reach more kids. And honestly, the main reason that I decided to make that shift was there are so many great applicants out there. When you sit and read some of these applications of these high school seniors and what they've accomplished and the futures that they have ahead of them, we just decided we want to cast a wider net because there's just so many deserving kids that have worked hard and deserve to be recognized. So, you know, we tend to, I think every generation tends to look at the younger generations and say, oh man, you know, we're going to be a mess 20, 30 years from now when these people are running the country. But I'm actually, after being involved in the scholarship program, it's really restored a lot of faith in the younger generation. There's some incredible young people out there that I think, and it's our duty to kind of help foster their talents and you know, make sure that they fulfill their potential.
I think that anybody that thinks that way, which I, of course, was one of those that said, man, this thing is definitely going down the tube. And I've been able to work with more and more volunteers. This past weekend, I went to Night to Shine, the Tim Tebow Foundation, and they had 250 young kids from all these schools that came together to be buddies that night.
Yeah.
And I said, there's your answer right there.
Yeah.
Because you could not have done that even, 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But no, the future is looking very, very good, and we always have promoted, to focus on those leaders of tomorrow, and hopefully they'll stay here.
Yeah.
And pass that on to someone else. So scholarships are a great way to do that, and we try to do that. We do a lot with Rotaries. We do a lot with other companies that I'll sit down and talk to. But $30,000 a year is a substantial amount of money.
Yeah.
And I will certainly use that with your permission to shame a bunch of people that probably have a lot more money than me.
Well, I think it's good for everybody to up their game a little bit. A lot of us have been so blessed. And whether it's financial or just giving of our time, sitting on a board, helping with an event, that's what gets me excited now.
Right. But it's a great team building for employees.
Oh, absolutely. My team gets fired up about this stuff.
Right.
And I think it's good for our culture, too. I think people want to work for an organization where they know that, the leaders care about the community and that we want to pour back into the community. So we participate in a lot of community events. One of our favorites is the United Way Dragon Boat Race. That's a great team building exercise. But everybody gets excited to compete in that. Letters to Santa, we've kind of taken that internal and run our own program. And this past year, my goal was to adopt at least 40 kids, and we met that goal. And I mean, there's a lot of people that are living paycheck to paycheck that stepped up and gave
Right.
what little they had so that kids could have a better Christmas. And it's just, it inspires me to do more.
Yeah, we did that. We built M&M Bank on that same hometown people that and that's what we did. And it was a team building, and our employees, we get behind it. And when you've got 100 and some employees behind something, you can really move some mountains. So, well, that's all very appreciative that you're telling us about all this. And like I said, scholarship thing really has got my little noggin going. We're going to have Wendy coming on. Wendy is your marketing director.
Yes, sir.
And of course, she's been involved in the community in many aspects. So we'll give you a little break. We get to share a
Let's
little
interrogate
time with
her.
too.
Yeah.
So y'all don't touch that remote. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. We're now joined by Wendy Rippey, who's the marketing director of Alpha Care, and of course, Wendy has worked with Traintastic. I think I met you through the Y with Joey and Amanda, and very well known, and obviously George a lot better looking than you and I. So we'll take this moment to go over a few things. We were joking before we came on the air, about the Humane Society. I know you're a big supporter of that. Been a part of the community for a while, and you were telling me this is the best job I've ever had.
It is.
And that's exciting, and it has to be. You have to believe, in what you're marketing.
Right.
And, obviously you get excited about this. Tell us a little bit about what that transition's been, because the rest of them are nonprofits for the most part, and now this is, a business, but it seems like it's been pretty seamless.
It has, and I was a little bit nervous about leaving the nonprofit world because it was such a big part of my life, but I feel like with Alpha Care we do so much for the community that I haven't, just maybe even gained speed with that a little bit because of what we did with Letters to Santa and so many gifts for the children in the community, and now with the scholarships, it's just really great to be a part of it.
Right. I did not realize, I know you're out in the community, George, but it's always good to have somebody out there that's looking for new ideas hey, you may want to look into this, and but that's how you grow a company, and like you said, you bring it back, the employees get excited about it. It's no longer a tedious day-to-day grind. It's more, it's for a purpose, and they go that extra mile. Now, you were talking about some of the things that you've learned. We were talking about the registration, or
yes,
like when you're doing things online, and
right. So we feel like one of our complaints that we had from our patients was just wait time. I think that's just true across the board, wherever you go, whatever you do. Like he said earlier about time being precious, and we have a new appointment system. So when you go to our website, you can still make an appointment just like you did before, but now you can actually get in line. So say you wanted to go to the clinic now, you can get online and see all 6 of our clinics. You can see the wait time, and you can get in line, and then you'll receive a text message when you're third in line. So then you can head to the clinic. But you can still make an appointment. So if you're not feeling well now, but you want to go in at 6 o'clock tonight, you can still make an appointment. So now you have the option to do that as well, so that you can, you have more time, because I think that's one of the biggest stressors when you're for example, as a mother, you wake up and your child is sick, and you think, oh, when am I going to fit this in during the day? And that makes it a lot easier to fit that into your life.
Now, George, when you're picking out a location, you're looking for something that's easily accessible, that the person's not going to have to go look down a side street or something. They're like right there on the main thoroughfare.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we've tried to target areas where we felt like there was a need. But, medical care is one of those things where, you can probably set up shop anywhere, and if you do a good job, patients are going to come.
Oh, yeah.
I think we as physicians and in the medical community as a whole have kind of gotten this pass of, people are sick and they just put up with long wait times, or, maybe not so friendly care, or, things that you know, we really shouldn't necessarily be getting that pass. You know, our philosophy at Alpha Care is, you know, we want everybody to leave the clinic smiling, even though if you're not feeling well. It's bad enough that you're not feeling well. It's bad enough you got to take time, like Wendy said, out of a busy day to try and fit going to the doctor in. When you get there, you should have a positive experience. You know,
Right.
you should be, someone should be shaking your hand. Someone should be respectful of your time. The doctor or the nurse practitioner, whoever it is, should be taking time to explain why they think the plan is what it should be,
Right.
and communicate. And I think that's what patients want. And whether you talk about patients or clients, you know, people just want to be heard. They want to be respected, and so that was a big driver for this new appointment time. We went back and we looked at our reviews in general. We like to pat ourselves on the back about, you know, how great our reviews are. But we went back and looked at all 6 years of our reviews and said, what is the common thing that everybody's telling us that we could be doing better at? And that was it. It was, you know, time. You know, I had an appointment, but it still took 30 minutes, an hour to be seen. So that was a big driver. So we've made a pretty significant financial investment in this new system, and so far it's been well received. But you know, we hope that it's going to do well for our patients.
Do you have weekly meetings with the different branches just to get like a sort of an update, overlook?
Yeah,
I mean,
so I could tell you a lot of stories with the changes that have taken place when we were 1 clinic and 4 employees to
Right.
where we are now with having about 70 employees and continuing to expand.
It's got to be consistent across the different.
That's the thing, is just being consistent and hiring people. You know, we talk about it during the interviews of what our visions are, about being involved in the community, about caring for our patients, and just, you know, I tell everybody there's a lot of good doctors and providers out there, but I need people that are going to take good care of my patients, and that sometimes just means taking the time to listen and to be friendly, you know. A smile begets a smile. That's what we
Right.
talk about. There's only so long you can look at somebody and not, you know, if you're smiling at them, that they won't smile back.
Now, Wendy, I know you're one of the things claim to fame. You were a model on our event. I think you're the only one to ever get Glenn Mueller to ever come out and do anything. Glenn's not somebody that's going to hit the stage, but you managed to pull that off.
I got George Licatos to do it too.
Yeah,
She
Wendy
wanted-
can be very
she-
convincing.
that's the twist the arm. But those are great events. They bring people together. People get to meet each other. I mean, that's we've done this a long time, and people look forward to it. I mean, it's just off the chart. I could not believe. And fashion shows actually make a lot more sense than the golf tournaments, where you see the same 4 people, and that's it. You know, this is something that you gather several times, and you've done a great job with that. And you know, having that experience, like you said, the nonprofit world, now the business world, to get a mixture of the two, and it's all really the same.
It
It's
is.
really the exact same thing, just with a, you know, a different name up there. And if you're consistent and provide services that people want with a friendly smile, and there's going to be things that go wrong. You do. The answer is yes. I'm gonna fix it.
Yeah.
And I think that you probably bring that mindset.
Yeah, I think that's the most important for anything. Whatever industry you're in, is, you know, no matter how well you're doing, is not, just don't rest on your laurels and pat yourself on your back. You know, what can you do better? Because we can always do better for our patients, for our community, and that's what keeps me excited. I mean, you know, I have a great team in place. I could probably put it on cruise control and just kind of let it maintain itself. But I'm really excited about what we're doing. You know, our plans of what we're going to do in the community and continue to expand.
Are
And
you
you know,
one
the
of
more we
those,
grow
can
as a
you
business.
turn it off? Can you leave and say ketchup in the blood? Like,
Yeah. So my daughter went to Europe this year, and you know, I decided I was going to take her for the first week and get her settled in. She was studying abroad. And so I was able to escape for 7 days, completely escape for the most part. We had to put out a few fires, but you know, there's things that you just don't want to miss.
No.
You know, so that was one of those things that I said, you know, I haven't left the country since I started the business. I'm going to do it. And so, you know, just check my phone a couple times at 2 or 3 in the morning. But
I can't turn it off. I can't turn it off. I can't turn it off. But I'll learn. So I appreciate y'all taking the time to come on. Y'all certainly use this anytime that you want to get out.
Thank you for having us.
And appreciate what y'all are doing in the community. That's really a standout and example for others to follow. So we appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
We appreciate everybody's support of the Baker Foundation of South Mississippi. Until next time, this is Todd Trenchard saying so long, and may God bless.